This is the photograph that most Americans woke up to this morning on the front page of their newspapers. It went viral online yesterday and was captioned by the governor-elect of California, Gavin Newsom, on Twitter this way, quote, "These children are barefoot, in diapers, choking on tear gas." Nothing can make a person, especially a child, less threatening to us than being barefoot. In a country where everyone has shoes and most of us have more shoes than we need, nothing conveys vulnerability more than being barefoot, a barefoot child. That's why it's the first thing that Gavin Newsom noted about that photograph. But there are hundreds of millions of people in the world who are barefoot every day, who don't own shoes. Her name is Awanenji. She's in 6th grade at a school in Malawi where most of the kids don't have shoes. And when you spend time in a country with millions of people who don't own shoes, as I did last week in Malawi, you don't see vulnerability. You see something different. You see strength. Rainy season hit Malawi on Friday, but that didn't stop this woman from doing what she does every day, carrying 10 feet of firewood on her head for 5 miles. Barefoot. You see women like her every day in Malawi, and they are the personification of strength and determination and grace. The rain didn't slow these kids down on Friday in Malawi. They're not worried about not having shoes. I've seen kids like them who have shoes actually take their shoes off on the soccer field because they can run faster. They prefer actually playing barefoot. In most of the schools I visit, most of the kids don't have shoes. Here's how one classroom at a primary school began their day on Thanksgiving Day last week, sitting on the floor. And here's that same classroom an hour later after we delivered desks that you have provided to these kids through your contributions to the Kind Fund, Kids in Need of Desks. Like most primary schools I've seen in Malawi, this one is very overcrowded and doesn't have enough classrooms for all the students, so some classes take place outdoors. This boy has the best seat in his outdoor classroom, and when I asked him how it feels not to have shoes like most kids in Malawi, he didn't really understand what I was asking about. It seems he doesn't even think about shoes. What he does want to do is sit at one of those new desks that he saw that arrived at his school on Thursday, and he will get to do that when he moves into one of the indoor classrooms next year. You can continue to help us produce desks at factories in Malawi with workers in Malawi and deliver them to schools where the kids have never seen desks by contributing at lastworddesks.msnbc.com. You can also choose to help provide scholarships for girls to attend high school in Malawi, where public high school is not free. Any amount you can contribute will help. Giving Tuesday is tomorrow. That's the day that instead of shopping for Christmas gifts, we pause to consider giving to a good cause. MSNBC is the signature media partner of Giving Tuesday for the 5th year in a row, and I hope that you will consider giving desks and girls scholarships tomorrow. You can actually make your gift in the name of anyone on your gift list, and UNICEF will send them an acknowledgement of your gift. And so, for the people on your gift list who have enough shoes or enough neckties or scarves, please consider giving them a desk or a scholarship tomorrow on Giving Tuesday. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on the button below for more from The Last Word and the rest of MSNBC.